Hi, everyone. All right, we are going to talk about how to protect your family, your finances, and your future. So, my name is Lachelle Carroza, if you don't already know me, and thank you for spending your very valuable time with me. So, I am just going to ask some questions in CC fashion. So, why does the Bible talk so much about wealth, about money? Sorry, why does the Bible talk so much about money, which is all inclusive of wealth, possessions, greed, giving, and stewardship? So here are some answers that we got on Wednesday. For to be a good steward, to build his kingdom, to help others, to make sure that it's not a little g God or an idol in your life. To guide us so that we do not act like a fool. And were there any other ones? I think that was the gist of it. But basically, then we thought about, can we think of anything else that is not connected to money? Can you think of anything that is not connected to money? Because money is basically connected to every area of our life. So how do we as Christians view money? So some people said as a tool, someone said not as our own. But is money good or bad? And people were thinking, it could be either one. You could use it for good or you could use it for bad. So it is pretty neutral. And then what happens if we don't have enough of it? So some people said then we become poor. We can get very creative. We can go into debt. I can get very stressed out. And also we have limited opportunities pretty much in everything in the world. So what are some struggles that we are facing right now in the economy? And the big one is inflation. Housing prices, and for me, honestly, I just think of, wow, everything's so expensive now. How are my kids going to be able to make it in life? I mean, the young kids right now are already struggling, and it's just going to get worse. So, as Christians, should we care about all of this? We know it's important, right? So it's important to know about this and to understand it. So, okay, now I'm going to test your financial history knowledge. So hopefully you have your handout, and we're just going to go down the line. So December 23rd, 1913, the creation of the what reserve? And some people knew the Federal Reserve. So the Federal Reserve was created then. And what is the Federal Reserve? So people didn't know this actually. So that gave the U.S. control of the money supply. And it centralized power. So, and that is what enabled debt-fueled growth. And that is directly affecting middle-class loans, savings, and jobs. All right, what happened April 5th, 1933? Gold what? Do you know? It's gold confiscation. So, Executive Order 6102, signed by Franklin D. Roosevelt, outlawed private gold ownership, forcing citizens to sell their gold coins, bullion certificates to the Fed at $20.67 an ounce. Then the Gold Reserve Act revalued the gold at $35 an ounce. So it was a huge wealth grab, and they seized 500 metric tons worth $13 billion today. So yes, shows that the government can seize assets in a crisis. I had no idea about that. Did you know about that? Then, July 1944, the what agreement was made? That is the Bretton Woods Agreement. So, do you know what that is? I didn't either. So basically, the US dollar was pegged to gold at $35 an ounce, and it became the world's reserve currency. And so any foreign government could come and exchange US dollars for gold at that fixed exchange rate. So that cemented US financial dominance. And America held 75% of the gold reserves, global gold reserves. Okay, then August 15th, 1971. Nixon ends the what? Do you know? He ends the gold standard. So basically, after all of that, 30 years later, he goes, okay, world, never mind, you cannot exchange US dollars for gold anymore. And basically, our money, our US dollar, is not backed by gold anymore. What is it backed by? Basically just trust and our military. So this ushered in what they call fiat currency. And this is why we have inflation. So our dollar, the US dollar, has dropped 95% in purchasing power. And we can feel that at the grocery store today. Okay, so does all of this seem important to know? Right? Yes, isn't it interesting that we don't know about all of these things? Okay, so now I am going to test your Bitcoin knowledge. Do you know what happened January 3rd, 2009? That is when Bitcoin launched. All right, and then in June 2021, do you know what country adopted Bitcoin as legal tender? What is legal tender? So that is just a currency that a government deems valid as a means of payment. Okay, so El Salvador adopts Bitcoin as legal tender in 2021. And then January 2024, last year, US approves Bitcoin what? Spot ETFs. So Bitcoin joined the traditional market even stronger. They were already trading Bitcoin futures since 2017, but the spot ETFs blew up. Actually, BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, IBIT, is the best performing ETF in history. Okay, what about January 23rd, 2025? Just a couple months ago. SAB 122. Banks can now what? Bitcoin now. Banks can now custody Bitcoin. So right now we purchase Bitcoin off an exchange, and all of that is about to change. Banks are going to be able to sell Bitcoin, have Bitcoin backed loans. A lot of things are going to change soon. Okay, March 6th, 2025. Blank Bitcoin, well, Trump's blank Bitcoin blank executive order. So Trump put in a strategic Bitcoin reserve executive order. So basically, he said, we are not going to sell the Bitcoin that we already have, and It's going to be a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And then just this month, April 2025, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent calls Bitcoin a what? So he calls it a store of value. So Bitcoin's wild, wild west days are over because it was crazy in the beginning. But Bitcoin is clearly here to stay. It is not going anywhere. And you need to know about Bitcoin because it is the future of money. And this is not a get rich quick scheme. This is a don't get poor slowly over time thing. Because that is what the US dollar is, like a melting ice cube. It's just like slowly melting away. And if we're saving in US dollars, it's just losing purchasing power every day. And unfortunately, in economics, there are winners and losers. That's just the world that we live in. And if we're not paying attention to what is going on right now, our families are going to suffer. I don't know when all of this is going to happen, hyperinflation, all of that. But these are all of the signs. Okay, so really, come on, what is so great about Bitcoin? Well, I'm glad you asked. So, Bitcoin is decentralized. What does that mean? I don't know. Did people, I don't think maybe someone said, not sure, yeah. Nobody really knew. Yeah. So basically, nobody controls Bitcoin. And this is hard for us to conceive because we're not used to anything being decentralized. But there is no central entity controlling Bitcoin. It is completely decentralized. So nobody can control it, nobody can manipulate it, nobody can inflate it. Number two, it is scarce. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. Why is this important? I remember Marianne said it's all about value. Like the more rare something is, the more value it has. So that's exactly right. This is why we know it is a store of value, like U.S. Treasury Bessent said, because it's going to hold its value over time. They cannot inflate it. So this is our insurance plan. This is our hedge against inflation. It's a lifeline. Number four, it's peer-to-peer. What does that mean? Why is that important? So basically, if you have a Bitcoin wallet, I have a Bitcoin wallet, we can trade, just me and you. We don't need Visa, MasterCard, Venmo, Zelle, any other third party. It's a peer-to-peer system, which is amazing because, again, nobody can shut us down. Nobody can stop us from transacting. Okay, number five, it is permissionless. Why is that important? So basically, this levels the playing field. This is complete equality. Anybody can buy it. There is no prejudice. You have to, in the US, there are regulations as far as when you buy from an exchange. There's KYC, so know your customer regulations. So you do have to put in your info, but you don't have to be part of have an account. You don't have to have anything except the money to buy Bitcoin. All right, number six, self-custody. What does that mean? And I remember Danielle said, 100% yours. So that's exactly right. You are 100% in control. So yes, nobody else should ever have control of your Bitcoin. You should be able to, you should take it off the exchange and put it into a cold storage wallet. And this will prevent confiscation. They have a saying, not your keys, not your coin. If you don't have the password, the seed phrase to your Bitcoin, it is not your Bitcoin. So self-custody, super important. Number 7, the Bitcoin network is open 24/7. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It never closes. So this is also very different than our traditional markets that are 9 to 5, closed on the weekends. You can buy and sell anytime. So that is why it is the most liquid asset. You can sell it. We don't want you to sell the most valuable asset, but you can in an emergency anytime. You don't have to wait for your account to close and everything to get processed and get it weeks later, or like selling a home or something that takes a long time. So I don't know if you know this, but Bitcoin is the best performing asset in history. Oh, I'm not there yet. On your handout, there is a comparison table of the past 10 years, and then you can just look at it later, but you can see it outperforms gold, 401ks, stocks, bonds, and real estate. Okay, and lastly, so these are just the safety precaution tips to keep your Bitcoin safe from scammers. People will come for your Bitcoin. So you need to go to a trusted exchange. We recommend Bitcoin only exchanges because they are pretty solid. Number 2, get it off the exchange as quick as possible because it's not safe on the exchange. Exchanges have been hacked before. You don't want to keep it on the exchange. Number 3, store it in a cold hardware wallet. And then you're going to want to store your seed phrase safely and securely. And you never, ever, ever share your seed phrase. And then lastly, we recommend Bitcoin only. All the other altcoins are just a copy of Bitcoin, and it's just gambling. It's all about pumping it up and then dumping it, trying to make a profit. You're trying to time it. It's all nonsense. So Bitcoin only, that is the only decentralized, scarce one out of all of them. Okay, so that is it. And we would love to teach you how to do all of this. And I will give you more information about how we can help you. So in conclusion, Bitcoin has dramatically changed our lives. But we could care less about the material stuff. We care about time, freedom, choices, options, and most importantly, doing good in this world and furthering God's kingdom. And we are just saying that God always makes a way for his people. He just always does. And this is just a way. And the reason that we feel so compelled to share this is because there is a transfer of wealth coming. It has been happening, it's happening now, and it will continue to happen. And our goal is just to get this wealth in the hands of good people. And that is our CC community. Amazing, amazing people. Because honestly, money doesn't change you, it just magnifies who you are. So I pray that this was helpful, gave some understanding. We just like barely scratched the surface of this thing. But again, we are here to help you and support you on your journey. So that's it. All right.